writing, and I know I'm going to get the camel thrown at me because I don't think I can do it in 2 minutes. What is slow writing? Slow writing is an amazing resource that I use in English, but I think eventually it could be used in lots of different subjects, by a guy called David, hello David when you watch this on YouTube, who has an amazing, amazing site of useful things, so if you don't follow him, please do. It looks like this, basically, which then requires me to come out of this, you see. Oh no! Death by technology. There we go, it looks like this. And I use the secondary one, and at its most basic level, it's 6 sentences of a random generator, and it randomly generates a technique that you have to use in each sentence of your writing. It couldn't be simpler. They change every time you rotate them. Sometimes it forces me to teach part of grammar that even I don't understand, which is good for everybody. That's what it looks like at its most basic level, but why is it good? Well, the other day, I did some slow writing with my year 9, and we're looking at Gothic fiction and we're looking at villains, and I simply put a picture on the board and asked them to write 6 sentences about a villain, and this is what one little guy wrote without any instruction or any help, and you can see it's full of weird mistakes, and it's okay, but it's nothing, it's no great shades. Within 10 minutes of using slow writing, and the red things represent what he had to do, he produced that, which is much better. He was a tall, hunched man wearing a worn leather jacket and dark top hat. His hands, clenched in anger, were positioned beneath a large grin. Standing in that dark alley, his eyes were dark and alert. He was a spider waiting for his prey. Who was he waiting for? He would strike suddenly, and no one would see it coming. It's massively improved, but what I find amazing about slow writing is that he hasn't only done 15 words and an embedded subordinate clause and a present participle, but he's also thought about the other creative elements of his writing, so it's gone from being a black suit to a leather jacket that's not just a leather jacket, it's a worn leather jacket. So it's improved massively, really, really easily. And this was some of the feedback. They did tweet feedback on a post-it note for me. Slow writing was proper awesome. They're great at English, my kids. It made my work even more #interesting. But some of them didn't like it. Some of them, it destroyed my sentence and it didn't work, and it was very frustrating and annoying. This is a more able kid who is already a very good writer, and it doesn't mean that slow writing isn't useful for them. So my year 11s who are preparing for their mock GCSEs, where they have to do some original writing, used it in a different way. This was what their screen looked like. And they got to change any of the techniques that they didn't like, but they had to explain to me why they changed it and why they made that decision. So lovely James, who wrote this about the first time he learned to ride a bike, could write not only something that I think is really beautiful, but could tell me what he changed and why. I'm going to get the camel. Balance yourself, James. Slowly, with my grazed knees aching, I wobbled towards the end of the garden. Faster and faster I pedalled. The sharp granite slipped and skidded underneath the wheels. How would this end? Running towards me, my dad made a futile attempt to slow me down. It's beautifully written, but more importantly, he can assess why it's better, and it works at all levels of the school. Thank you very much.